Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on a Friday lunchtime, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with feelings. And I'm feeling brave, just a little bit brave. I hope you all had a great week. And I just want to just let you know, for those of you who are regulars, there will be no broadcast tonight. We're on summertime now. So I'm just going to do the Friday lunchtime one and then the Sunday one, as long as I'm feeling well enough, of course. And for the rest of you who might be new, welcome to the program. Dear Mama Sal is not just me, it's a group of us who get together and do all sorts of things. But most of all, we are growing together week by week as we discuss various topics and as we learn to understand who we really are as opposed to who we've been pretending to be for a long, long time. And so, a very it's going to be hopefully a fun broadcast for you. As you can see, I will be cutting this. This is it's not a cake. This is a loaf of soap. And uh, who knows what it's going to look like inside, but doesn't it look pretty on the outside? And the reason I say that is because I have noticed with the tester one that I started with, that people are almost scared to use it. You know what I mean? Because it's so pretty, and so it's an interesting phenomenon. But who am I to complain? And I learned lots this week. I learned how to shrink wrap soap. This is a shampoo bar, by the way. Really recommend that. And this is a shampoo bar. But can you poo bar? It's a poo bar. Yeah, as you call it. That sells poo bar. Um, anyway, but I learned how to shrink wrap it. And, how does that feel? Now, the first thing is you have to be brave to do it because you need to actually seal it. And then you take a hot gun to it and it goes like this. But it worked. It's an accomplishment, yes. And, you cannot get accomplishment without being brave. Would you agree? Because in order to get an accomplishment, you have to risk something. And I can assure you, I did not want to risk this. But before I started, I went, the worst that can happen is it'll make a mess, and I will end up peeling the stuff off. And then I will be able to use the soap anyway. So we're going to be doing that. But I also, how many of you are going, how do you like the top of that? And the thing was that I was busy last night getting ready for the broadcast, and I thought, I really would like it to look pretty on top. I wonder what I could do. So I had a little experiment, and you all know how I did it, right? And I'm not good at it. Yeah, it looks like Whitecaps. That's what I thought too. But I did it with a frosting bag. Right? So I thought what I'd do is I'd show you. Um, I've got this ready to go because I thought what we would try to do is to do um, some little flowers with those Russian tips. You remember I got those Russian tips a couple of years ago and I never really used them? Well, apparently this is why I need to have them. But do you think I can find the one that I really want? Not at the moment, but I will eventually. So we're going to be doing that, but that requires great bravery as well. Because I can mess that up big time. So we're going to do that, and we're going to start off doing it in white because that's the easiest one. And then if that works, then we'll put color on it, and then we'll see how that works. All right, so there we go. Lots of fun stuff. Before we get into the main stuff, we had two birthdays last week. Linda's on the 25th and Farmer's on the 26th. I have not heard from Kristen how her procedure went, so we're hoping all went well. And for any of you, if you're regular viewers or listeners in the background there, and we missed your birthday, it's because it's not on the database. So please let us know so that Jody can put it there. And a quick med update from me. For those of you who don't know, I went through a mastectomy last November. And then they put me in February, they put me on a very nasty drug whose job it is to kill any estrogen in my body. It just about killed me in the process. No, not really, but you know what I mean? It just really knocked the stuffing out of me. And so I did 6 months, which is what they suggested I did. But when I went back, um, what happened was that I the cancer clinic suggested that I come off the medication for a month and then go on to another one to see if it was any better. Jeannie is asking whether did I tell anybody that she's now a great grandmother? No, because you did not give me permission to do that. But anyway, and her little granddaughter Mary Bell was born on Wednesday, and cute as a button, really cute. So I normally don't do things like that unless I get asked to or permission. You told me that it happened, but you didn't give me the okay to share it. So, I don't do that, Jeannie. I try to be very cognizant of people's privacy. And the thing is this, if I post it and maybe the rest of your family didn't know already, so that's why I always wait for somebody to give me permission to do it. But I'm very happy to do it now. And Jody, if you can remind me after the broadcast, as obviously now Ginny does want it advertised, I will put it up on the Facebook page. So med-wise, I'm feeling a little stronger. I have a little bit of energy back. And I haven't quite been off it a week yet, but I also noticed that the brain fog is still there, but not quite as intense. So we'll hope that all goes well. I also was extremely brave this week. I don't know if you see, I've got a new bit of jewelry. This is actually one of those alarm things, all right? So if there is an emergency, I get to press it twice. I'm obviously not going to do that right now because we don't want the 911 response people arriving at my door. But I just thought I would show you. This one comes through my local telephone provider, and you get a choice whether to have it on a bangle, a charm on a bangle, or whether you want a necklace, or there's another way, a keychain, I think. Here is the thing. The reason I've got it is because I've tripped a couple of times. And I am aware that if I fell and I was away from the phone, I would be in trouble. Or if I was out on the back 40 here and doing something and had forgotten my phone, which occasionally happens, I would have a problem. So then what I decided was, how can I be safe? And what will happen is if I press this, the 911 people will try and call me back. And if they can't get hold of me, then obviously they take action. They also will immediately liaise with my first respond family members, if you like. And so both Yvonne and Doug will automatically, as soon as I press this a couple of times, they will automatically get their 911 thing as well, to know that something has happened to me and I'm in trouble. Now, obviously, Doug could be out of the country, or Yvonne, could be busy or whatever. So the idea is to make sure that 911 comes as well, because that's a rather important thing. However, can you believe how brave you need to be to actually put that on? Because there's big part of me that goes, what if I press it accidentally? It's got a bit of a fail safe. If you press it once, it doesn't do anything. You actually need to consciously press it twice for it to send the alarm. And I think even then it sort of double checks. But what happens is they then try and contact you via your phone. My issue is, if I'm not near my phone, I can't see what they're asking me, which means that they will get alerted and send somebody to check on me. Make sense? So pray that I don't turn over and accidentally bump it twice, and all those sort of things. Because obviously if I call the ambulance or the paramedics out on a false alarm, then, I have to pay money. But I just thought I'd let you guys know, in case you haven't seen one, that the technology is there. And not only that, you know what I really liked about that? For those of you who might have uh, friends that are maybe coming out in the winter into car parks that are a bit risky, or underground car parks that are a bit risky. One of the features that this has is I can actually on my phone press an icon, and it says I feel insecure. All right. And that what that will do is it will actually connect me to a human, and I will be able to say I am about to walk through a car park and I'm a little bit scared. So I just wanted to alert you. And they will say roughly how long will it take you to get to your car, and I'll would say, let's say 5 minutes. And if I haven't disconnected the alert within that 5 minutes, then they will send support. Yeah, Jody's saying some medical alert necklaces can be synced with Alexa. Yes. Not going to be much use to me if I'm out in the garden there, right? But yes, it's a good thing. So I really, just for those of you who I thought that feature of I'm feeling a little bit insecure is an excellent one, and I was quite surprised that it had it on there, and really good for the winter. The other thing is, one of the things I have, if I happen to have my phone with me, if I happen to be in an accident, I can just press that. There's a car. It has medical, police, car crash, or something else. Can't remember. But literally, if I were in a car crash and I were able to do it, first of all, if I could do this, but I can actually press something that goes car crash. And because it is on GPS, all this technology is wonderful, it will know exactly where I am and where the help is needed. So I'm not getting paid by them because I don't know what it is where you live. But you're probably wondering how much. Let me think. I think the actual unit was about $100, a bit more maybe. And then it's $12 a month, which, quite honestly, at my age, is I think probably a good idea. All right, so there we go. So how many of you are looking forward to seeing me try and do this? Now, the reason I need to be brave, for those of you who don't know, what it looks like now is not what it looks like inside, and I have no idea what the inside's going to look like. So I always have to be brave with that. Plus, what I want you to do is cut it with the wavy tool. What do you think? I've never done that. Oh, interesting. And Jeannie's saying, glad it gives you peace of mind. Yeah, I'm glad it does too. But thank you, Jeannie, for caring that much. And Jody's saying, truth be told, I looked into that service when you moved into your new place. Yep. All right, so do you agree it would be interesting to see what it looks like if I cut it with the wavy tool? Could I mess it up? All right, so here's the thing about being brave. Okay. Every time that you do something like this, it requires courage. And it doesn't matter whether your courage is to take new medication, your courage is to go out on a new date, or your courage is to try a new recipe or whatever. Do we all agree that we have these times in our lives where we have to summon up a little bit of courage? Because we could fail. Some of you going, yet again. But we also know that unless we move forward, we have no chance of success. And so therefore, this is why I've got to be brave. I've got this beautiful cake that's actually soap, and I want to try the wavy tool on it. First thing I'm going to do is to cut the end off. All right, that end needs to come off, and let's try that first. I'm bleeding. Okay, I can do this. Oh, that went down quite well, didn't it? And now it looks like that. Can you see it? I like that. All right, now then, we're going to do the other side. Stop shaking, sir. I like that. Okay. Oh, and the top. Okay, so the top, you see, isn't that perfect? I'm so glad I did the top. And of course, because of the way that this is done, no two pieces will be the same. I did do the top with a piping bag, Jody. That is why it looks like that. Round about midnight last night, I thought, I wonder if, and I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it now with the Russian tips. That's what my next experiment is. That's why I've got to be brave. See? As I said, the interesting thing is no two bars will be the same. And it will still need, I would think, at least another week to dry out a bit more. And I don't know if you can see, but this is almost like a foam in here, and that's a more solid. So I've got all sorts of different textures in there as well. Well, a boutique bar of soap. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Now then, if you don't risk, you don't get achievement. True? So, shall we try doing now? Yeah, for those of you who don't know what Russian tips are very fancy piping things that make interesting shapes. Now, this is a pretty plain one, and I thought we'd start with a pretty easy one to see how it goes. And unlike icing, I've got the soap at the moment, as you can see, over there, and it's on a hot plate, trying to keep it warm, to keep it a little bit liquid. Yeah, Jody says Russian tips are a headache waiting to happen. So we're prepared to fail, right? And that's what I said. The important thing in life is if I don't try it, I won't get good at it. Do you agree, guys? I've got to practice this. It's like making the bar of soap. You know, you've got to do it to be able to get good at it. So what I'm going to do Of course, I could do it after the broadcast so you couldn't see it. All right, so now I've got soap. But what I thought I'm going to do is start with a bit of white. Let's hope it works, people. I need more. Yes, Jodie's going. She's remembering when I started painting on those tiny little bits of paper, and then I graduated. Well, here I go. So the soap is still a bit warm, but let's see how it goes. It didn't. That's a miss. Okay, let me think about that. Why? Is the soap too thick? Yeah, I think the soap is too thick. So plan B, we go back to the drawing board. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this in the microwave so that I can make sure that it's properly mixed in. Very challenging We can do this. That's how we learn, right? Yeah, let's try that. See if it's any better. First one was better. Second one, not so much. I've got a hair that's driving me insane here. No, still not good. All right, so here's the thing. The difficulty is getting the soap thin enough to go through it properly, but not too thin. And I still haven't got that consistency right. But it would make nice waves. You see that last one? No, I don't think you can see that. Okay, so I think with a bit of practice, I could make some really nice waves with it. But not as easy as it looks. So I don't want to waste your time with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to liquidize it even more and then practice some more. And then what I will do is I'll show you some pictures of what I did. How's that? If I find that it works. But I'm really happy with this. And by the way, I went to go and have lunch with Dougie's mum. She was here from Kenya, and his auntie and uncle. And what a great meal it was. I want to tell you something. They came and picked me up, and um, we went to a local golf course, not the same one as we went to last time. We went to another one. We went to a local golf course, and we had lunch there, and it was so much fun. We laughed so much. And the funny thing is, I was the token white person, because they're all Kenyan. And it just looked so funny. And we were saying how, um, we don't have an issue about, um, I don't know how to word that, we don't see each other as deeply suntanned or white or whatever, we just see each other as people. But we were laughing about how it must look. And, and how funny it was that every time Doug and I go out together and he calls me mom, and you can see people do double takes. But I did make sure, as you can imagine, that his mom knew that her son was so good to me when I had to go through that operation. And I addressed that 3 or 4 different times during the course of the meal, just how wonderful he had been. And that, she had every reason to be proud of her son, over and above all the other reasons, but just by virtue of what he did to help me. So, but I was sad because the meal, lasted quite a while, but, it was over too soon. Do you know that? And I knew they'd be off on the next part of the trip, and then I wouldn't see them again maybe for another 5 years. And there's a possibility, of course, each time that maybe we won't be around next time. But, it was just such fun. I've got to say that. I really did enjoy it. But here's the thing. It was meant to be, and that's what I was told, it was meant to just be Isabel, that's Dougie's mum, and myself and Doug. And so I took presents for Isabel and for Doug. And then guess what? The aunt and uncle turned up. So I went, okay, fine, I can do this. So then I just winked at Doug, because the presents that I bought for Doug went to the aunt and uncle, obviously. And they all got different sorts of soaps. But they were all saying, let me get the other one in case people haven't seen the other one. So for those of you who haven't seen it, this was the original loaf that I did. And they all thought it was cake. I don't mind telling you, it was just amazing. And do you remember that little one I did that looked like crochet with a rose on top? Was that very, very much loved. So what happened was that they all got some soap, and I had some what I call manly soap, where I had put in allspice, turmeric, and sandalwood. I think I'd mixed those in. So the soap bar was more of a brown bar, and it was just like, okay, fine. So I told Isabel to take one home for her husband back in Kenya, but it was just to see their reaction. And then they didn't realize that I'd made them. And that was the interesting thing, because somewhere in the conversation, they said, where did you find them? Because they're so beautiful. And I said, no, I make them. And then that started a whole different thing. And then they wanted to see what else did I do. And so, I also took some Christmas cards for Isabel to take home with her. But, it was just, it was just so funny, because it was just like, this is what you do. I said, yeah, it keeps me off the streets. It occupies my mind. But can you all see that doing this is a constant challenge? I'm constantly having to be a little brave because I don't know how it's going to turn out. What looks good on the loaf might not look good when you open it up. True? It says here, if you have the courage to begin, you have the courage to succeed. And, it's just like you need to practice things to make them work. Now, this will work. I know it will work. I've just got to get the consistency right. And it might take me a week to do that. Do I care? No. All I'll keep doing is, throwing this back into the mix and making it a little looser. And then I will overdo it. You know that. That's part of life as well, in which case I will make it a bit stronger again. But the thing is that it's a doable. You can see this is actually quite thick now as it cools. So I think that's a beautiful soap. And I quite like the curvy. What do you think? All right, this is when it's straight. You see more of the pattern, I guess, when it's straight. I don't necessarily think so. What do you think? Do you like it better with the curvy or straight? Or should I also cut the ends curvy? Nah, I don't think so. Now, I've learned a lot of things. Straight is your favorite. Well, shall I try and straighten one of those and see if it looks different? Why not? Let's take the biggest one. That one. Okay, so you still like the straight? Okay. So that's easy enough to do there. Actually, I'm ruining that, so I'm not going to do that anymore. But the next loaf I will do straight, and what I'll do is I'll show you cutting it on the straight. Now, the question is, these bits are not wasted. All right, those bits that I cut, they're not wasted. What I will do is I'll let them dry, and then I'll put them aside, and when I want to color something blue, I will add it in there. Does that make sense? So I found that doing soap making actually is fairly good about not wasting a whole lot of stuff. All right. So for example, here, all right, this here I will just scrape up. And then I will just rewarm it all up. Actually, I'll put it back into the big bowl. And my experiment this week is going to be my drains have never been cleaner. Yeah, Jodie's saying that she likes the delineation when it's a straight cut. I think I do too. But we don't know until we try the other one, right? So we took that risk. Now then, again, all the soap that's in here, what I do is not in that one. This one. And the reason I wanted to show you this is so that you can see it's a bit messy, but on the whole, you don't waste a lot. So I'm just going to let this bag soak in here for a couple of hours. And then, the soap will go into here. And what do I do with this soap? So this soap I just leave on the windowsill so that it can evaporate. And that turns into a fairly good soapy sludge. Two things I do with it. Number one, I color it. Okay. And that's my experiment this afternoon, is I'm going to use these colors. So this is like a soapy sludge with color in it, which I'll be adding to the white. And again, can you see that it's not wasting soap? All right. And I think I like it for that reason. It's a lot, although it's messy, it's a lot less messy than wax. And I just find it it's a bit like the paintings, as Jodie so rightly said. And what I will do is I'll keep experimenting. I've got one that I did. This one is still not stable yet, but this is one that I did where I did like a marble effect on it, and I'm just learning how to do that, using 3 different colors at the same time. And this will probably end up getting regurgitated, but it's going to be, it's going to be pretty when I've done it. I find it interesting when I use goat's milk, it separates. Can you see that? Not quite sure why it does that. Not a bad thing. It's just the glycerin side and the other side, but it's just, it's good soap. But I've got to look into that. And, to my mind, I like that. Yeah. Something, Jodie? I'm going, this what I wanted to do this afternoon was pink, gray, and cream. What do you think? Think I should do a loaf? So there we go. I would like to say that, quite honestly, if you don't try anything new, you don't have to risk anything. I'm saying that because it's like it was a risk for me to come off the medication. I'm certain you all understand that, because for the next month, if I have any cancer in my body, left over from my previous operation, it will feed off the estrogen that is now building in my body. But unless I give it a full month for the old drug to be gone, it won't make any sense to start on the new one, because I won't have a good idea of how much better did I feel before I started the new one. Now, the new drug could have exactly the same effect on me as the old one. Or worse. But the bottom line is, I think there is a third option. But the other thing is to come off the drug altogether. And that's, that will be a decision I will need to make at that time. But, I'm pleased to tell you that I'm walking better. I'm not as sore walking as I was. And as I said, I'm still a little foggy, but not as much. My mood has lifted quite a bit. So all in all, I'm feeling better for having come off it. And that doesn't surprise me. But I'm not light years away. Yeah. So Jodie's saying this month is the control of the experiment. Yes, it'll take, they reckon. So they said it'll probably take 2 weeks before it's really, most of it's gone. So, but I'm noticing a difference already, which is very good, even within the first week. So I'm quite excited about that. So I would challenge you, like myself, that it's like, what are you doing to challenge your brain other than surviving? And the reason that I ask that is because if we don't use our brains and make them work and problem solve, you understand, this is all about problem solving now. I know what I want to do. I know it can be done. I just got to work out the right consistency. And will I have to do it every time because it won't be easy to reach that consistency? Yeah. So it's always going to be a problem. But I thought that was a great topping, right? And I did that with an ordinary piping thing. But it had the right effect, right? It does look like foam. So worst comes to worst, I'm going to do that. However, I saw some beautiful things done. And to me, it's like I can see that this is going to be a mixture of soap making and art. And that will be the fun part for me. And the thing was that it's one of those things where you go, this is all for Christmas presents. But by the time it gets to Christmas, I hopefully will be pretty good at making them. However, also knowing that I need at least 4 weeks for them to dry. And I don't know if you know that whenever you buy handmade soap, if possible, keep it out in the air and let it harden a bit more. Because the longer you keep it out in the air, the harder it becomes, the longer it'll last. So if I were to use this soap today, it would just about disintegrate because it doesn't have any depth to it, if you like. So, and that's after a week. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks will make all the difference. So we'll have some fun. I thought that was a great color as well with the pink. What do you think? For those of you who are into purples. And I don't know if you can see, it's also got glitter in there. So lots of experiments to do. And to me, it's like, it's the ideal gift to give people, quite honestly. I was amazed at the reaction I got from everybody when I gave them the gifts yesterday. So it's good to know that people react like that. And I also know that I've got to make sure, the reason I cut these small like this is because you're more likely to use it when it's this size, right? That's what I discovered. When it's this size, you are less likely to use it. You're more likely to display it. So part of me goes, I think I will continue to cut small slices of stuff so that I can include it with the bigger ones for people. You know what I mean? But I still love this one, and I'm definitely going to be doing more like that. So, big experiments coming up, and I hope you enjoy the process of watching me fail. But is it failing? I think, was it Einstein that says that he failed his way to success, or I can't remember who it was, famous inventor. That you have to be prepared to fail in order to succeed. So please challenge yourself. Janie's saying the gift is practical, but also so special because it's homemade. Yes, I believe so. I really do believe so. And now I've been playing with the packaging. How am I going to package it? And that's been fun to learn. And then I found out something quite interesting. Did you know that in Canada you are not allowed to mail anything that has fragrance? If you can smell, oh yes, quote by Thomas Edison. Thank you. All right, I failed my way to success. Yep. Did you know? I don't know what the rules are in your country, but in Canada you are not allowed to mail anything where the fragrance can be um, smelt while it's going through the mail, which is why the shrink wrap, right? The shrink wrap is there to contain the fragrance. But what is the first thing you do when you pick up a bar of soap? I've noticed everybody did it yesterday. They pick it up and they smell it. So now then, I've got to think about that. I'm going to have to put a note to go, this soap is shrink wrapped because it's illegal to send fragrance, open fragrance through the mail. However, once you get the shrink wrap off, you will get the fragrance. But it's because it's going to smell like it doesn't have any fragrance in it at all. Learning moment. So, but how would you, any ideas? How would I cover that? I found the cutest little things. Hang on. They'll be really cute when I find them again. But I'll show you. But they're little handmade tags. All right, they're little tags that say handmade, and I've got some twine to go with them. So I think that will look pretty. Yeah, I didn't know that either, is, but I was, that's all part of learning these things. All right, it's the same thing as you're making the little houses, the Christmas houses. You learn things, but the hard way. And so I'm going to have a lot of fun, and I've still got quite a few months left to play. And then hopefully by the time I get closer to Christmas, I'll be happy with some of the stuff. Actually, I'm very happy with what we've already done. The shampoo bar, I finished my first, I'm just about 3/4 of the way through my first one. And yeah, really enjoyed it. All right, so hopefully you will continue to see more progress on the the insides. Can you see how scary that is? You go, I did that a week ago. I can't remember what I did. I wonder what it'll look like when I open it up. And it's just like, oh yeah, that's what I did. And now what I'm going to do is to work hard at decorating them as well. All right. Now, I know that I can just make soap. And I'm pretty sure you guys who know me are just laughing, going, no, Sal couldn't just make soap. To me, it's a creative process, and I got to make it more difficult. But the same as I did with the little one. What did I do with the little one? Yeah. I will make some little ones. All right. All right. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. And just a reminder, no broadcast tonight. I'll see you on Sunday. And I will obviously be playing a bit more this afternoon. And I will put up some pictures if and when they work. But I will be reporting in every week to let you know what my progress is. This is DearMamaSal saying, please be brave. Please have the courage to fail. Please challenge yourself to do something new, especially if you're stressed. What I found is, taking up a new hobby every year, which I do, taking up a new hobby, just uses different brain cells, keeps you learning, keeps your brain working, keeps your appreciation of things at a different level. This is DearMamaSal saying, be brave and have fun. And we'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now. Thanks, Jody.